for people who go to the place where I want them to go. Oh, wait, no, that's a different place, and that's other people. Where I want these people to go that are listening to this podcast is youtube.com/at the Watt Car. And you can see us and our smiling faces. And you could also see me wearing a shirt that you're not going to buy at thewattcar.com/store, but it's a shirt that represents my favorite EV company.
Okay, I guess we'll get into that later.
Maybe I'll just leave it at that. You could go to thewattcar.com/no, youtube.com. Oh my gosh. youtube.com/at that symbol, the Watt Car, and you'll see what I'm talking about, and you'll see why that's kind of humorous. I'm Phil Royle, one of the podcast hosts here, doing this for at least the last 30 seconds that we've been on the air. Maybe longer in content creation. I don't know. And I've already promoted the things I want to promote. So I'm going to pass the baton to you.
Ed Sanchez, 4+ years as a podcast co-host. How about that? Mix it up a little bit. Current day job, automotive electronics industry analyst and co-founder and contributor to the Watt Car blog and podcast. What?
I speak really fast, and I'm fully aware of that. You were speaking so slowly, it was killing me.
Killing me, Smalls.
Like, I listen to podcasts and audiobooks at like one and a quarter times is my minimum. Some of them I move to 1.5 if they're not talking fast enough for me.
And my two NPR style.
Yeah.
Kind of low, soothing voice. We're going to talk about EVs today.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm just here. I want to get it done. I got other things to go on and do.
All right.
So apparently, when you speak fast, one of the things that you do is you cut out a lot of the little details.
Yeah.
Because you're just trying to get the main idea across. Forget all the fine points, whatever. Let's just get all the details across. Well, apparently, Elon Musk is doing the same thing for the Model Y, or the cheap Tesla.
Yeah, evidently. Well, I mean,
just cutting out all the details.
Yeah. So this has been bandied about and rumored for a long time. They may have another future model in the pipeline that's truly, new platform, all that. But I guess in the interim, to try to juice sales and to try to distract from Elon's various shenanigans, the near-term low-cost model is effectively a decontented Model Y, which was rumored by many people. So,
well, we've been looking for the mythical $25,000 Tesla.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that
for a while. I assumed. See, now this is where I'm wrong. I assumed it was a decontented Model 3,
which they actually have in some markets. So in the Mexican market, they actually do have a decontented Model 3.
Oh, so I'm right.
It exists. So
I assumed what was coming to America as the cheap Tesla, the quote unquote $25,000. We've covered this before. There's never going to be a $25,000 Tesla as far as I'm concerned. Like, back when it could have happened, they weren't going to make it because they could sell the other cars for so much money, and like they could make them as fast as they could, or they could sell them as fast as they could make them. Now, when they need help doing all of this, like, I don't know, the inflation came and it went. Now, like, selling anything for $25,000 is like a pipe dream.
Yeah.
So Tesla's not to blame for not hitting. They're not going to hit that $25,000 nut as far as I can see. But if Model Y, sure. I mean, that's good enough.
Well, I mean, I think it makes sense because it is their best-selling model.
Mm-hmm.
It's, depending on the month or the quarter, it's the first or second best-selling car globally. Anyway, so this is the latest. I got this off. It's a weird website, but it actually does have some good information sometimes. It's called notateslaapp.com. So anyway,
I've never heard of this site, and I was just looking at our show notes, and I was trying to decipher the URL, and I got to notate slap.
Notate slap. Okay. So notateslap.com. Okay. So, and this is based on, I guess, some spy shots. I can't remember if these were in Fremont or in China, but, so it is a Model Y, some exterior changes. It looks like, so how on the new Juniper, it's got the horizontal LED strip like between the It's not even headlights because the headlights they put lower in the bumper
Yeah.
on the Juniper, and then so the little eyebrows are LEDs. So it's not super clear, but it looks basically like they may go to Highland style headlights on the Model Y. So if you're a fan of how the Highland refresh on the Model 3 looks, and you're like, wow, I wish the Model Y looked more like that, well, you may have your wish. And then I
Yeah, I
guess,
initially liked the redesigned Model Y, and then
Mhm.
you, I think, said, I don't really like it. And so I looked back beyond my initial thought, and now I like the Model Y refresh less and less.
Well, like I said, my whole thing with it is it looks kind of generic.
Yeah.
It looks it looks like every other like
Yeah.
Chinese brand EV. It just, I mean, I know what it looks like when I see one on the street. I recognize it, but I would guess for a lot of people to be like, what is that?
Hmm.
Um, Whereas the previous one, whether or not you were a fan, I mean, it looked like a fat Model 3. It was instantly recognizable as a Tesla.
Yep.
The new one is like, what is that?
It's almost like in
Yeah.
when they make uh, futuristic movies, at least
Hmm.
back in the 80s, they would build like a generic future car, and it's very much
Juniper
that.
looks like a generic future car. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, possible change on the front end styling. So I guess the nickname for that like kind of reflective rear light bar on the Juniper is called the afterburner.
Of
Do
course
you,
it is.
do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's like the glowing red strip
Hmm.
or whatever. So I guess that's gonna get chucked. So it's just gonna have your standard little tail lights on each side, I guess. Um, and then the front console, rather than like a full length front console, it's basically, some people describe it as kind of like the Cybertruck. It's kind of more open. So you got a console, you got a couple cup holders, and then you have like this open space. So I'm not mad about that. I'm kind of, yeah, I don't have a
Yeah.
strong feeling about that one way or the other. It appears the seating is, so with the Juniper, like the Highland, one of the changes they made was ventilated, you know, you know, front seats where they're perforated and you get the airflow through them. So I guess this model also eliminates that. So it's not exactly clear if it's going to be cloth or like what they call synthetic leather, i.e., vinyl seating, non perforated.
But this one's hot butts only.
Yeah, hot butts only. Oh, that sounds, no, never mind. Um, all right. And also the rear touchscreen, I guess, is gonna not gonna make the cut, or it is gonna make the cut. It's gonna be
Depending on which way you would
anyway.
look at the wording.
Uh, so that's out, and a metal roof. Honestly, and I'll be completely honest with you. If that was an option when I bought mine, I probably would have taken it because I know the ooh, the glass roof has the ooh ah factor. I really don't care, and I would
I'm
have
I'm a
very
weird one.
happily, yeah,
I bought a Miata years ago and then put
mhm,
a hardtop on it.
yeah,
I'm not a big fan. Like I've got my Yukon
hmm,
and it's got a sunroof.
hmm,
I opened it last weekend
hmm.
and it was like my kids had never seen this open because I just don't ever open it. I think that was probably the second or third time, and
And were they all ooh ah about it?
they were like, "Whoa, the roof opens!" Like, who knew?
Yeah,
I just don't use things like that,
yeah,
and I don't. A lot of it is like the heat coming down
yeah,
and the light coming down is a distraction.
yeah,
I like I like metal roofs.
yeah,
It's if I had your car, I would probably vinyl the roof.
yeah. Well, I have some little mesh screens.
Yeah, but it doesn't block it all the way. Like
Yeah,
I
I
want
know, but
curtains.
it's, well, anyway.
I'm not a fan. So one of the YouTubers that I watched that we've
Hmm,
actually talked about on this podcast many
hmm,
moons ago when the Lightning came out, and there were
hmm,
these RV couple, and they went and they towed. They were
hmm,
like one of the
hmm,
first
hmm.
set of people to
Yeah,
tow with a Lightning, and they bought a couple Ford trucks since then, and they always get it with the glass roof.
hmm,
They always pay for that option. And
hmm,
he said when they bought the last truck, the only reason he gets it is because they're YouTubers and it
hmm.
offers better lighting. And when they're
Oh, for
not
the videos,
recording, yeah. And when they're not recording, he closes it.
the sunshade. Yeah,
Yeah. So nobody likes these glass roofs. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand for the Model 3, it was partially for assembly simplification. Because if you look at like the roof of the 3, you have the windshield header, and then you have kind of a crossbar in the middle, and then you have this huge piece of rear glass that was like basically makes up the rear glass and basically half the roof. So I think it was a simplified assembly process. But they got rid of that in the Model Y because they made it a rear hatch. So they
Hmm.
had to kind of have a cut line anyway. And so they said, well, at this point, you might as well just go with the metal roof, which I'm not mad about. So here's my
Point being, metal
yeah,
roof.
metal roof. So here's my hot take on this. I My car is, and I know it's like practically brand new in your eyes, but it's I've had it for about 6 years. It's a little over 80,000
Yeah,
miles.
just broken in.
Yeah, you'd say barely broken in. But I would consider upgrading soon, but there's nothing really super compelling out there right now that makes me say, "Oh, I got to have that."
Because
So,
that the Rivian R3X isn't out yet, and
well, that's
who
not going to
knows?
be
Yeah,
for probably I'm hearing like about 3 years.
yeah.
So, I don't know. Um, here's my hot take on this. If this has the same powertrain options as the quote regular price Model Y, but without all these little bells and whistles on it, I'd be completely fine with that. Because equipment wise, this sounds about the same as my current Model 3. So, because I don't have a rear display, I don't have all these fancy lighting effects. I don't have the ventilated seats. I don't really care about those. So, if it had basically the same equipment level as my car, but you could still get the dual motor, I'm not. I'm guessing it won't be like the high performance model. It'll probably, my guess is the options on this may be rear wheel drive or standard dual motor, which I'd be fine with. But if I can get one of these, kind of basic trim level, dual motor, 300-mile range, let's say for 42, to me, that would be a good deal. And I'd be like, sign me up. So,
Well, there's no tax credit, whatever, anymore on
no, I
these
know that.
things.
So,
So how
it is
about
what it
this?
is.
When you do that, I'll buy your car for $7,500.
Well, that's probably about what it's worth right
Is it
now.
really?
No, I mean, realistically, I think the market value of mine, no, completely seriously, realistically, like 14 to 16 grand, maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know.
So
I haven't priced
7,500
it out,
bucks.
but it's like,
My offer stands.
I feel like we're doing a Pawn Stars episode. That's my best offer.
Yeah, it's my best. It's all I
Anyway,
can do.
so I don't know. I mean, some people think this is going to reverse their fortunes in their automotive division. Maybe, maybe not.
You know what I have been noticing recently
Hmm.
in the news is a lack of Elon going crazy stories.
I think his board probably had a come to Jesus meeting with
Yeah.
him and said, "Bro, you need to chill."
And a while back, my theory was they want to change the trajectory of the company, then they need to just go and get rid of Elon. That would do it overnight. And then
Hmm.
it hit the
Hmm.
point where I'm like, no, he's actually now tarnished Tesla's image.
Hmm.
And now, even if they got rid of him, Tesla would still
Damage
struggle.
is done. Yeah.
But since then, and I've seen him not in the news as much, I
Hmm.
kind of think, I mean, people have short attention spans, short memories, and they're dumb.
Hmm.
So you combine all of these things,
You sound like
and
me.
and people suck in general, and life is miserable, and there's no point.
Yep.
Uh, but outside of all of that, I think him just laying low can solve the image issue. And if
Yeah.
they come up with something like this that is low cost enough, that is compelling,
Hmm.
then I think people are going to forget. I think
Yeah.
give it a month or two, and it's going to be like none of the madness that Elon
Yeah.
created is going to matter anymore, which is sad because ultimately he has helped put America back a decade in
Yeah.
in some of the departments, the necessary governmental departments. He has axed, and it will take the better part of a decade to recover from the
Yeah.
madness that he created, and
Yeah.
people are just going to forget it and then go back to buying his cars.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. This could
Not to
actually
get
be.
political.
Yeah. I think this model could be very successful because I think for a lot of people, the obstacle. I mean, if they're okay with buying used, I mean, I hate to say this, the resale on Teslas kind of sucks. So
It's bad.
so
Yeah.
2 or 3 year, two or 3 year old Tesla, you can get like, you know, 20 some grand, low miles, super clean. And actually, I've heard on the used market, they're actually selling pretty well. So this, I mean, this could juice sales potentially. Like I said, we'll see. Supposedly, we're going to see it in Q4, like in the fall. They're going to go ta-da. So
Hmm.
anyway, but I think, and this was announced a couple days ago, but I don't think we're really going to see the ramifications from this for a year or two. So I don't know if you heard about this. I guess Tesla and Samsung got together for a $16.5 billion semiconductor deal. Um, so this
Is that a lot of money?
it's
I mean, it
it's a
seems like a lot of
it's a
money, but
chunk.
but in like chips and this that kind of industry, is that a lot of
This
money?
yes. Objectively, this is literally a big deal. I mean, typically, I mean, I've seen press releases on things in the hundreds of millions, and that's considered significant. Um, if it's over a billion, that's I'd say newsworthy. 16.5 for a commitment to a purchase commitment is really big.
Hmm.
And I think this is a win-win. I think for both Samsung and Tesla because this is a brand new foundry that Samsung is building in Taylor, Texas, which is just outside of Austin. So I don't know how much business they already have booked for it. It's not supposed to officially come online till 2026. I guess they started construction, I heard 2022. So they're close to having it online. But I think, don't quote me on this. This is just my speculation. They didn't have the production pipeline fully booked for it. So this is a foundry. So this is like TSMC.
Hmm.
So even though it's Samsung, they won't be branded Samsung. They'll be branded Tesla, Apple, um, you know, whatever.
Edco.
Yeah, and whatever. So this is basically like their white label business.
Yeah.
So obviously they want to get as full utilization of that plant as they can. And part of this is the onshoring. I think, what's interesting is I think we discussed this is when Hyundai actually announced their big investment in Georgia and their EV meta plant. So the planning for that actually happened during the first Trump term because I think they recognize it's like, if this guy is gonna at the time they didn't know if he was gonna win a second term or not. He didn't, but he came back. Um, but I think they kind of read the tea leaves and said, okay, the world is transitioning from a more global open trade economy to more kind of regional, economic kind of fortresses.
Well, and
More,
some of this
yeah,
happened during the pandemic
yes,
because
yeah,
all of the shipping routes, everything kind of shut down, and that it
yeah.
was impossible to get anything.
So it really screwed up supply chains.
Yeah,
But
supply chain stuff
anyway,
like got flipped on its head.
so I think the plan to onshore semiconductor manufacturing, I think is a net positive. Now, there's a lot of other, again, I don't want to waste a whole episode on supply chain logistics and all that.
Mmm.
But anyway, this is good for
Give me a
Samsung
plate of that.
because this is booked. This is, I don't know how official it is yet, but it's a significant commitment from Tesla to buy them. And logistically, so Tesla is very famously highly vertically integrated, meaning they make a lot of their own stuff in house, whereas the traditional automotive model is they just buy from suppliers. You'll get this from Siemens, this from Continental, this from LG, this from
Hmm.
what's that Toyota supplier? I can't remember. But Toyota, like the
Yeah.
Toyota umbrella has a
Yeah.
dozen of little Denso.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, and so all these little different components kind of come together in different ways. The Samsung foundry is 35 miles from Austin, where they build a lot of Model Ys. So from that standpoint, I mean, they could literally just truck it you know,
Hmm.
like 45 minutes away, bring it down,
Yeah.
assemble it. Now, if they're also going to use these in the Model Ys built in Fremont, so forth. I don't know. In terms of globally, I don't know, what the supply chain looks like for that because they also build the Model Y in Germany and Shanghai. So I don't know. But I think definitely for the US built models, this is really going to streamline logistics for that. But keep in mind, this is still 2 generations out. So right now we're on hardware 4 for current models.
Well,
The
all the
next,
cool Tesla owners or model
well, yeah, so
hardware for.
I'm uncool, I guess. Um, so the next generation will be AI 5. What they're talking about for this is AI 6. So if they're going to start production in 26, they're probably not going to be shipping cars till 27. And I think I read they said that they're not expecting full scaling of this till like 2030. So this is still a few years out.
It's forever away. We'll all be
Yeah.
dead by then.
But the interesting thing about this is supposedly they want to use these chips across multiple applications. So cars, Optimus, and I guess like AI data centers. So they want to basically use the same chip in all of those.
Just
So that's
imagine
where,
how much faster Optimus will be able to scoop that popcorn.
there you go. You'll be like, wow, he's going fast. Anyway, so significant. This is significant news, something to keep an eye on. But like I said, we're not going to really probably see
Yeah.
the full results of this for a couple more years.
And
So,
by
yeah,
then, we won't even be thinking of this. Something else will
yeah,
happen. This is just going to happen. This is
yeah.
just going to work its way into the
Yeah, when it
production
finally comes to
line.
fruition, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Was that, we talked about that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. It's one of those boring things that makes things better
for
without really making too many waves other than there's the initial announcement. And then after that, you just forget about it. And then all of a sudden, profit. I
kind of
don't know.
kind of like more charging points. I think that would make things better.
Yeah, which slowly happens. It
Yeah.
slowly happens. So US on track to add more than 60,000 charging points this year. What does that include? Is that what are they counting for that number? This was an Inside EV's article. Is that level 3 only? Level
It
2?
doesn't
Level
specify it. I would
1? Is
guess
this somebody? Is that
no.
me? I just put a new 115-volt plug out front, and that
Yeah,
counts.
I'm guessing this is level 2 and level 3. I don't know for
So
sure.
they say America is on track to add 16,700 public fast charging ports by the end of this year, which would be about 2.4 times the number of ports added in 2022. Yada, yada, yada. They don't really say. I'm going to guess level 2 and level 3, as long as it's public.
Yeah, even though fast charging generally refers to DC, but not always. So
Well, yeah. The only reason I say level 2 is because didn't we just report like a story a couple weeks ago? Like somebody was installing fast level 2s. Oh no, it was a car, I think, that could take level 2 charging up to like 20?
20 or 35 kilowatts. And
Yeah,
so it's
something like
kind of
that.
like,
It was like kind of right. It was way faster than level 2. And
yeah, but it was still AC. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah,
so
I
it
don't know.
was it
Uh,
was so anyway, that's why I
yeah.
include that.
Yeah, TLDR, more charging ports, hopefully less frustration, as I've talked about recently. Not for me personally, but when I was with a friend with the chat amount. Anyway, you can go back and listen to it. Um,
Where you had nothing but good things to say about Chatham.
yes. So this is a 23.3 increase over the last quarter and being led by 3 companies, Tesla, ChargePoint, and EVgo, I guess, in terms of speed of deployment.
Yeah. Well, they're the
So
big heavy
they're
hitters.
kind of the big 3, I guess.
Yeah.
So good for that.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
it's good. I don't see any downside to it.
no, and I think it'll ultimately increase adoption because I think that's one thing that's been holding a lot of people back. It's like, where do I charge it?
Yeah.
And now, as they become more ubiquitous, um, like Walmart, 7-Eleven, gas stations, as we discussed a few episodes ago with Connect, Gilbarco Vita route.
Now we're miles away from this happening,
Yeah.
but like in the picture that Inside EVs shows is there's a supercharger
Hmm.
and it's basically you can see the loading dock for some building in the background.
Mm-hmm.
So they put a lot of this stuff like off to the side. But as you build out, when you're adding 16,000, 20,000, whatever every year,
Mm-hmm.
eventually you move from the back lot, the loading dock, to the
Mm-hmm.
front of the building.
Yeah.
And eventually we will have, and California will be one of the first to experience this,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have a decrease in parking spaces that are usable by ICE drivers
Mm-hmm.
because these are essentially reserved. So there's gonna be a little pain
Yeah.
threshold there.
Now, so this
Because
is
now
going to be,
imagine a mall
Mhm.
at Christmas time, if people go to malls, which I think they still kind of do, but wherever,
some
wherever
places.
people
Yeah.
go when they leave the house, I wouldn't know. I don't leave the house. Wherever they go during holidays, Black Friday and all that stuff, parking is hard. And
Unless you're
so,
parked on the couch and you're like, click, click, click.
yeah, yeah, there's that. So I just we're going to hit a pain threshold with parking spaces for other people. I don't know when that is. That could be in 10 years for all I know.
Well, so a lot of these spaces, even with chargers, they say EV preference, like EVs have priority,
Hmm.
but that's very open to interpretation.
Yeah.
So you could have Bubba and his, F-250 Super Duty. Oh, imagine that.
Wait a minute, that's me.
Wait a minute. And he just like, yeah, I'm gonna park here, you know. So in terms of the enforcement of that, the other thing I think it was also on Inside EVs too. I read a story about one of their contributors backing into an EV charging spot and he got a ticket
Oh
because
yeah.
I guess it's like city ordinance that you can't back into spaces. And
Yeah.
he's like, that's the only way I can charge.
Yeah.
And they ultimately dropped it, but he had to go through a major pain in the butt and argue with them and this and that. And they said, well, just as a one-time courtesy, we'll drop this, but don't do it in the future. And he's
Like,
like, this makes no sense.
but I have to do it in the future.
Yeah, so that's a whole other discussion about parking codes and enforcement and all that. But anyway,
And what about emergency getaways? You've always got to be able to why is that blanking from my
tactical parking.
tactical parking? Yeah.
Yeah,
You've always got a tactical park. I am a firm believer in tactical parking. I
yeah,
tactical park in my driveway. I do it everywhere. So yeah, tactical park, everybody.
tactical park. So we've talked about the Xiaomi SU7 Ultra, the 1500 horsepower super sedan from China.
Yes. Yep.
So guess who's poking around with one of those?
Well, according to this picture, Ferrari.
Yeah,
But
evidently.
um and I say this every time. Every manufacturer benchmarks every other car.
Well, I mean, what they consider their competitive set or competitors.
So, sort of. I was at Mazda years ago.
Uh-huh.
Years ago. I met Mazda at their tech
This is in
headquarters
Irvine.
in
Yeah.
Irvine, yeah. And we were there, and Audi R8, which was new at the time, pulls in and goes to the
Nice.
back and parks. And I said to the guy from Mazda that I'm with, oh, benchmarking that? And he's like, yeah, we test everything. Like, it's not hidden or anything. They just test
Yeah.
everything.
I
And
wouldn't I wouldn't consider R8 like a RX-7 competitor, but I guess, you
I
know,
mean, there was no, I mean, at the time they only had like maybe the RX-8. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they still have never produced anything, but they kind of test everything. I'm not expecting Ferrari to go and drive a base model whatever. I was gonna name something and then realize
Toyota Yaris.
they don't even, yeah, I was gonna name something and I'm like, they don't even make those cars anymore. That's how out of touch I am. So I'm not gonna expect Ferrari to do that, but I would expect Ferrari to test like Corvettes
Hmm.
and McLarens
Hmm.
and Lamborghinis and everything. Now, the fact that, though, as we were talking about the other week, China's come in with a vengeance.
Hmm.
And so I think that's kind of the surprising part is this
Hmm.
might be the first time, at least that we know of,
Hmm.
where Chinese cars are being seen by top tier, like pinnacle
Hmm.
aspirational
As
manufacturers.
potential competitors. Yeah.
Yeah, as something that they at least need to keep an eye on. The
Yeah.
question will be, will they get the next model and the next model? Like,
Hmm.
or do they go, okay, well, we'll give it a couple years.
Well, I mean, I think my guess is the reason Ferrari is interested is Xiaomi was able to build to this level of performance for the price point they have. Now, obviously, labor rates are much cheaper in China than they are in Italy. I mean, that's not
Yeah.
rocket science. But even if you take the labor and the wage and salary differences out of it, the essential like engineering components, you can kind of distill that down pretty good in terms of cost analysis. That's kind of like what Sandy Monroe and his company does, is they do cost analysis. So it's still, they'll break it down even to like the last little like washer and screw. Um, so my imagine is they're like, how are they getting 1,500 horsepower out of this and
Yep.
selling it for what, like 87,000? Or now,
Yeah.
granted, that's China market. So if it was exported, I'm sure it'd be over 100,000. But
Yeah. I
regardless,
mean, we've even had that conversation though, but even with a 100% tariff on something like that, it's still a spectacular deal.
yeah, yeah. So they're probably, my guess is they're kind of figuring out how do they do this bang for the buck,
Yeah.
and like how, and because if Ferrari being a prestige brand, and I think their cheapest model right now is like at least $250,000 or close to it. I think maybe they're like bargain basement models like 190,000 or something. Anyway, so they're kind of like, they have the brand status and reputation where they could command 250, 300,000 if they could build something and learn how Xiaomi did it so cost effectively. That's pure margin for them.
Yeah.
So I think that's maybe where they're looking at it from. They're also probably doing like durability testing. They're like, okay, great, it's 1,500 horsepower. Yeah, but I'm sure they're going to torture test it, bench test it, and see how it holds up over time. Identify any potential weak points, areas for improvement. But
Do you
yeah,
think?
I don't
I
know.
mean, the one thing I've never owned a Ferrari, but I do know people that own Ferraris.
Mhm, mhm,
And the thing that keeps coming up is they're very expensive to maintain because of like the when you've got to do a engine service, which you
mhm.
might have to do like every 40,000 miles, and it's
And are they like? Yeah, I was
$15,000.
gonna say
Yeah,
like five figures.
yeah. No, I have a friend that got it's an older Ferrari. It wasn't
355,
yeah, in fact, I think it was a
438.
350. I
Yeah.
think he got a 355,
Mhm,
and he picked it up for a song because it was overdue for its like 50,000 mile maintenance thing, and
yeah.
it was between 15 and $20,000. So he
Mhm,
bought the car, did that maintenance.
mhm,
It was still cheaper than what the car would have cost had it have been
mhm,
all that
mhm,
stuff been done, but he can't afford to do it again.
mhm.
So he's planning on driving it basically what the previous owner did, drive it to the point of the next maintenance, and then
And sell it
sell the
again.
car.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Ferrari really like durability tests these things. I think they look at does it get what it needs to get right now, and can it go for the first 10,000 miles, and that's it. Or is Ferrari realizing people can actually drive these things? That might be the scary part of to them, is that they've now
Mhm,
got to design a vehicle that can be daily driven. Because this
mhm,
Xiaomi can do everything that these supercars can do,
mhm. And
and
with
go to the
the,
grocery store,
yeah.
and go to the school, and drop the kids off, do all of
Mhm.
this stuff.
So yeah,
So they may be looking at a complete shift in their own paradigm of what
yeah,
a Ferrari is.
yeah. But I still think they're going to be. I don't think you're going to see a $50,000 Ferrari any day soon.
No, but you may see a Ferrari that is a four-door family sedan
Well, I mean, they
that
already
is,
kind of have that with the Puro Sangue or
but they're not really
455.
designed to be driven. These things are not, they're just not designed to be daily driven.
No, no.
And EVs, you can get all of the performance and daily drive them. So
Yeah,
it is kind of something that maybe now they've got to look at it and go, oh man, our doors we only test for like 4 years of
10,000
ownership. Or
slams.
yeah,
Yeah,
now we've got to like really test the stuff. And it may be changing everything they do. I don't
yeah,
know. I'm just making stuff up.
yeah. So, y- you heard of the channel Rich Rebuilds, right? Rich
Uh-huh.
Benoit.
Yep.
So he's done all sorts of crazy stuff. He did a LS powered Model S. I don't know if you
Mhm.
remember that.
Did that get running ever? I
Yeah,
remember the
no,
build. So he
no,
got
they
that
they
going.
did it and they got it to SEMA. So anyway,
Sweet.
um, So I guess he was approached by Zeekr to drive the 001 FR. So that's basically Zeekr's hot rod model.
That's the one that's kind of like a Civic hatchback
Yeah, but
meets.
like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. So that one's only 1300
yeah.
horsepower.
So there's
So
no point in even getting it.
yeah. But anyway, he drove it and he was like, this thing's pretty badass. So interestingly, so in that price range, I would say like Lucid Air Grand Touring, um, the Model S Plaid, um, that class of vehicles. A lot of them have air suspension, and interestingly, this one has coils. Actually, he kind of looked through the wheel well, and I guess they're like KW coilovers on this.
Interesting.
Yeah. Um, so, but yeah, and he said a lot of people were like, "What is that?" So it definitely got a lot of looks. He said it was a lot of fun to drive. He said not as refined as a Model S, a little more of a raw kind of feel to it, but
Raw in a bad way, or raw
no,
as in?
just raw. His inference was raw in a good way. It was playful. It
Okay.
felt like a big tuner car. I mean, it kind of looks like a big tuner car. But he said the throttle is a little touchy. You can modulate the traction split front to rear, and he said some of the different settings it was just kind of a handful. Um, but he said it was a blast to drive. But so he was thumbs up about it. But
Is
what I'd
this
like to see is I'd like to see a back to back. Maybe it's already out there. I just need to watch it. Is a back to back between a Plaid and the SU7 Ultra. That's
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is this, I don't know. We probably had this conversation before. Is this a changing of the guards? Is this, are we at the point right now where we're going to look back in 5 years and go, that was the moment that China just, they were there. We didn't know at that time. We thought they were coming, but in 5 years' time, we're going to look back
no.
and be
I
like,
think
wow, we should have seen more
yeah.
than what we're seeing now. Like right now, we look at it and we go, oh, that's neat. Ferrari's testing one. Rich Benoit tests one. And he's like, oh, that's, it's a good solid car or whatever. Are we going to look back in 5 years and say, dude, how dumb and naive were we back in 2025?
Yeah. And
Because everything's Chinese now.
actually gonna name a date
Oh,
for
all right.
when I think the dam is gonna break, and
Okay. I want it down to the month and day.
well, I'll give you a year. Is a year good enough?
I guess if you're
I
gonna
think
wuss out.
I'm gonna wuss out. I think 2030 is gonna be the year, and I'll tell you why. I
The
think
year that it comes to America, the
that
China.
Chinese brands en masse come to
Okay,
America.
and make a significant impact.
First of all, you're going to have a change of administration, whether it's Republican or Democrat. I think you're going to have a change of trade policies. I think you're going to have a market shift in favor of EVs. I know the current kind of argy bargy and all that is just, oh, EVs suck and they're going down the toilet and, you know, roll coal and
Yeah.
yeehaw Hemi and all
Well, and
that.
we haven't talked about it, but like right now they're trying to get rid of the EPA tailpipe standards and they're trying to get rid of California's 2035 new car EV
Yeah, I can
vehicle sales.
almost,
Like
I
they're
can,
definitely attacking anything to do with emissions. Roll everything back to the
yeah,
1950s
I can
is what we're trying to do
almost
right now.
guarantee you if the next administration is Democrat, those will all be
Yeah,
reinstated.
guaranteed. That'll be day one is
Yeah.
all of that gets reinstated. And
So
I would say if a Republican, not a MAGA Republican, but a Republican gets elected,
we'll probably also reinstate them.
we're going to end up back to where we were before Trump. Like
Yeah.
we were on a reasonable path.
Yeah.
We weren't on
And
an
then,
unreasonable. We weren't on like the far left extremist path. We were on a reasonable
yeah.
path.
And the technology was progressing, and the
Yeah.
smart companies will continue to
Mhm.
invest in that path and will be primed to take advantage of that. Anyway, um, so I think 2030 is going to be the year where you're going to see a whole bunch of Chinese brands in the US market. Um, and I think actually Zeekr has an insider advantage being part of the Geely group, which also owns Volvo and Polestar.
Mhm.
So,
And Lotus, don't they?
and
No.
Lotus, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Well, they're I don't know if they're a majority shareholder, but they have a significant interest in Lotus as well.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I like the 001 FR. It's
Yeah.
still out of my budget. I think even in China it's over 100,000, but Um, nice machine. So
Yeah. So in 5 years, we will all be bowing down to our Chinese robot overlords and
driving Zeekers and
driving
Xiaomis
Zeekers and Xiaomis. Yeah. And
and
I'm,
Yang Wangs maybe.
yeah, if you want to whip out your Yang Wang, then
Oh,
you can do that.
hey, all right.
Okay. With that, I'm going to end the episode. What do I say? I don't know. We're on social media. Find us there. Show notes embedded into the podcast. Go to youtube.com/@thewildcard. Have I promoted that enough? Probably
Yes.
not. Okay.
We're working on some things behind the scene.
Mhm.
Sometimes they take a little longer than expected, but gonna have some interesting content hopefully within the next couple months. So.
Yeah, we've got between Ed and my travels, we've got I don't know, we got to come up with something or else we're going to start skipping episodes. And in the 234 episodes that we've been doing this, we have not skipped a single week. Now, we have produced some crappy episodes in some weeks, but we've not missed a week. So maybe we'll have some great content in the coming month, or maybe not, but we will try not to skip a week. I'm done. I'll talk to you next week.
Next week.